Now calling to order the regular meeting of the Fairfield Planning Commission on September 10th, 2025. Ms. Sheehan, can we have the roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Kennedy,
Present?
Commissioner Singh,
Present.
Commissioner Matthews,
Present.
Commissioner Paul,
Present.
Commissioner Reese,
Present.
Commissioner Ollie Sullivan,
Present.
and Commissioner Greavy is absent.
Thank you. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Before reciting the pledge, I'd like to ask everyone to take a moment of reflection in recognition of tomorrow's anniversary of the events of September the 11th, 2001. Thank you. Commissioner Matthews. Can you
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, persons wishing to address the Planning Commission on subjects not on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission, provided that no action may be taken on off-agenda items except as authorized by law. Off-agenda items from the public will be taken under consideration without discussion by the Commission and may be referred to staff. Comments will be accepted in person or via Zoom. Public comment instructions: to speak on an agenda item in person, please complete a speaker's card and give it to one of us here on the dais before the meeting, or at the latest prior to the time for public comments on that item. If you're joining via Zoom, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 on your phone to request to speak. You will be called on by name and will have 3 minutes to speak. Next is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes from staff.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It's been moved, seconded, and approved. Motion passes. Now we'll go to approval of the minutes of August 13th. We now have, are there any changes to the minutes for August 13th, 2025?
No changes from staff.
Seeing none? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
Thank you.
of the...
Is there a second?
I do second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. Now we'll go on to public comments and time for the public to speak on items not on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Do we have any? Okay, so, yeah, 2 online, but no hands are raised, so we will close the public comment period. Now, next on the agenda is scheduled matters. For each agendized item, there will be a presentation by city staff. For items that involve application requests, I will open the public hearing and ask the applicant to address the commission if they desire. Then commentators via Zoom and in-house will have the opportunity to provide public comment. I will close the public hearing after all comments have been provided and after all our questions regarding the testimony during this public hearing have been answered. After the public hearing is closed, the commission will deliberate on the item and may have additional questions for staff. We cannot take additional testimony or questions from the public after the public hearing is closed. Now, tonight the Planning Commission is acting in a quasi-judicial function. This means we are having a hearing. And as chair, I'm asking all in attendance to maintain proper decorum just as one would in a courtroom. For the matter on tonight's agenda, the Planning Commission has a very specific purview. The Planning Commission is to evaluate the matter before us on design of exterior improvements. The Planning Commission at this hearing is not allowed to evaluate the potential use or operations of the proposed project, nor the zoning and the project location. So please refrain from jeering, cheering, clapping, or any other positive or negative reactions to the speakers. It is important that the commission is able to hear each speaker without interruption. In addition to that, I want to add, I'm wearing a tie that says "We the People." This is our right as an American for free speech. Your right is here to speak about free speech. Give that same exact right to those who you may not agree with. You all have the exact same right, and let's show the proper decorum that we as Americans expect. So, with that, Each commentator will be allowed to speak for 3 minutes. We will now go on to Vista Ridge site improvements. And that would be Maylee. Thank you.
Oh, tonight will be
Sorry, I said, but it kind of sounded like Maylee, but it's Maylee.
Gotcha. And then, Chair, yes, I will have to recuse myself from this agenda item because there is a conflict of interest. So I just want to announce that.
Thank you, Commissioner Singh.
Good evening, Chair and Planning Commissioners. My name is Yilin Wong, Associate Planner, and today I will be presenting minor discretionary review for physical site improvements at 3331 North Texas Street, also known as Vista Ridge. So I'll start with just some information for the public in case people aren't aware what a minor discretionary review is. A minor discretionary review is an administrative review process, typically for minor site improvements. Typically, they are done and reviewed and approved at staff level, but the Community Development Director does have the ability to pull it up to Planning Commission level if they see that it is appropriate. So that's why we're here today. And just to reiterate, this is just for the physical site improvements, for example, like fencing, paint, landscaping, that kind of thing. There will be no operational elements for review tonight. So going into the project location, the project is proposed at 3331 North Texas Street, which is an existing 3-story hotel. Just some additional background on this, we are reviewing the physical site improvements for this project, but it is related to a separate item. So the Housing Department is working with the developer, an applicant, Danco Communities, on a permanent supportive housing project funded through the Home Key Plus program, which is from the California Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD. The tenant target population for this is the general homeless population with behavioral or mental health issues, as well as homeless veterans. The whole permanent supportive housing project will include 50 units plus 1 manager's unit on site. Now I'm going to walk through the timeline of events from City Council decisions and other meetings that are related to that permanent supportive housing project since January this year. All the following actions that I'm going to outline underwent the proper procedures and are complete. So on January 21st, 2025, the City Council approved Resolution 2025-14, authorizing commitment of local housing trust funds and pro-housing incentive program funds for the acquisition and redevelopment of a permanent supportive housing project at the project location. On February 4th, 2025, the City Council approved Resolution 2025-25, authorizing the city to submit a joint Home Key Plus application to California HCD with Danco. On March 18th, 2025, City Council approved Resolutions 2025-44 and -45, and this is just an administrative update for some entity names, just so the following processes are being assigned to the right entities and parties. On April 7th, 2025, Danco Group submitted applications for a zone change and environmental review to rezone the site at 3331 North Texas Street from regional commercial, or CR, to mixed commercial, or CM. On July 18th, 2025, Danco Group submitted a minor discretionary review and environmental review application, which is what is being reviewed at tonight's meeting. And on August 5th, 2025, Fairfield City Council passed Ordinance 2025-06, amending Chapter 25 of the Fairfield Code to rezone the site from CR to CM. On August 6th, 2025, a community town hall was held at Paradise Valley Clubhouse, and on August 21st, 2025, community informational meeting was held at Willow Hall. And so now, that was all background. I'm going to move on to analysis for the items tonight. And so the proposed site improvements as part of this minor discretionary review application include a new sport court, a dog run, gazebo, and interior courtyard as amenities for the residents, the future residents to enjoy. And then there will also be new refreshed landscaping throughout the site, as well as new fencing and both vehicular and pedestrian gates along the perimeter of the site. And so just so you have a visual of where these things are, here's the site plan. So the two buildings you see here are existing. They are not expanding the footprint of the existing hotel at all. Here is the proposed courtyard, which was previously a pool for the hotel. They're going to fill that and make it into a space, interior space for the residents. The gazebo will be here, a dog run here, sport court here, and then throughout the site you see there is some updated landscaping. And then there's an existing masonry wall along this western property line, and then the fencing will go around all the other portions of the property that don't already have that masonry wall. So as part of the minor discretionary review, just like every other planning application we receive, we issue conditions of approval. And so we do have some special conditions for this project. And this includes updating the existing trash enclosure to comply with city standard detail, repairing the existing masonry wall in the case that it is needing up some TLC, that is in some conditions, and then there will also be a condition to comply with the police department's crime prevention through environmental design evaluation recommendations, or CPTED. This project is exempt under CEQA Section 15332 as an infill exemption, since the proposed site improvements are on an existing developed site and is surrounded by urban uses under 5 acres. The project will be adequately served by public utilities and services, and there will not be other negative environmental impacts resulting from this project. And so given that we have been covering other background and related Home Key Plus project items as part of this presentation, I'll go through what's next related to this. On September 17th, 2025, there will be another community information meeting at Willow Hall from 5 to 7, and that's kind of just a little ways down. You can walk there from here. It's at 1000 Kentucky Street. And then at a future date, if and when the state of California approves the project to receive Home Key Plus funding, our housing department will bring a loan agreement and regulatory and operational agreement to City Council for approval. And with that, staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt a resolution PC 2025-6 approving the site improvements at 3331 North Texas Street. I will also reiterate that tonight the Planning Commission will be deciding on the physical improvements of the site, and no decisions regarding the permanent supportive housing project and its operations will be reviewed. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Now it's time for staff questions. Please hold your comments or deliberations on the item until after the public hearing is closed. I'm sure we have questions, so I will start with Commissioner Ali Sullivan.
Sure, thank you, Chair Kennedy. Elin, thanks for the presentation. And pardon I'm a little congested here. It's hard to understand exactly what the site improvements are going to look like with just a flat map. I was expecting some pretty renderings to get a sense of what this conceptually is going to look like. It's hard to understand what gazebo means. It could mean something from Costco. It could mean something a bit more, structural. And so, do we have any better design plans of what this is going to look like, what these improvements are going to look like? Because I would think if you're improving the lot, it's probably going to look good. And so, I wanted to see what that looks like.
Yeah, thanks for your question. It is part of the Planning Commission packet. In the plans, there are not per se renderings on the site, but there are examples of the types of structures that will be being put in place.
Okay, I did see that. That's not what I was looking for, but that's okay. Then second question, is there a reason why these site improvements are coming to us at this stage? Should we expect additional site improvements throughout a process? Is that normal, or is there a reason why these are happening independent from the other decisions that have been made on the project?
Are you sorry, are you,
I guess what prompted these site improvements and why are they coming to us now versus 3 months ago or 6 months ago when other components of this project were approved?
okay, yeah. To clarify, are you asking why didn't it come with the zone change or other elements like I listed in like January, March, et cetera?
Correct. Why is it coming to us now?
Okay, I see.
What is prompting this improvement?
I see. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, there are certain procedures that the applicant had to go through to make sure that this site was approved for this project. And so they couldn't move forward with planning and designing for these site improvements if they didn't have the knowledge that this site would be available or the funds would be available or their application was even accepted for this project. Does that answer your question?
Not necessarily, but that's okay. That's fine. It's sufficient. Thank you, Chair Kennedy.
Thank you. Commissioner Reese?
Just to clarify, if this was to get approved as is, does that mean that gosh, I'm probably not saying the development, the development group in the city, well, I'm not saying the right word, you guys.
Planning Department?
I think
Yeah, the
you're-
planning department will handle all, will be the person to just, will be the committee or the group to approve everything moving forward? Or would the applicant like provide renderings and then they come back to us and, so that we could see it?
Yeah, so the action tonight would be to approve these site improvements. There wouldn't be a subsequent time where they come back to Planning Commission with these renderings. I'm sure they would be able to provide them at a later date if you want to see that. But if you voted to approve them, then they would be approved without those renderings coming to you first.
Okay. I think that I have just a similar challenge. It's hard to see everything without having like the visual in front. That's it.
Commissioner Paul?
Yeah, no questions yet.
Thank you. Commissioner Matthews?
Do you have an estimated construction cost yet?
I do not, but I can defer to the applicant who's in the audience today if they do have an estimated construction cost.
We can take that during public hearing, too.
Okay. And a follow-up question to that would be, will this be prevailing wage rate? Is that part of a city-state requirement regarding labor?
As far as the city goes, we don't have any special requirements for that. I won't speak to what HCD requires, that there's a possibility there. In a moment when, oh, I'm sorry, I see we do have a response from our housing representative, LaTanya. Thank you.
You changed your hair.
I did change my hair. My name is LaTanya Taronis. I'm the Senior Housing Project Manager. I'm one of the project managers over this project. With the funding that's on this project, prevailing wage will be required for this site. And I think the other question was about the construction cost. We do have the developer here specifically, but I believe that cost is roughly $26 million.
All right. And the source of funding will be entirely based on grants and state-related function support, correct?
Yes.
One thing I want to disclose, Chair, is that I was in attendance at the prior to public meeting and listened to the presentations at that point in time.
Thank you.
And just from my standpoint, this is along the lines of my day-to-day business, so I do not feel the need for any additional renderings. I think the scope of work is pretty clear in my view.
Thank you.
That's all.
All right.
Chair Kennedy, if I may.
No. Yes, go ahead.
One additional question regarding the fencing. Is that a requirement by the city to have the property fenced off? Because currently, right now, as a hotel, it is not fenced off. And so why is that being added to the project?
So if you're referring to the special condition, the masonry wall along the western property line.
Not the
is
masonry
existing.
wall, so that's existing, but the additional fencing, is there
That
a
was
reason?
proposed by the applicant.
Okay, and is there a reason why the applicant is putting up fencing around the property? Do we know?
I do not know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Okay, now it's my turn. I tend to get in the weeds here, so please bear with me a little bit. So, in our packet, in bold, it says Planning Commission's review is limited to design, siding, and other exterior elements of the proposed improvements. I am not a lawyer, but I have stayed at a Holiday Inn Express before. So, siding. According to Cambridge EDU, siding relates to a physical location or place to exist or to be built in a particular place. So some of my questions are going to have to do with the fencing, for instance. How tall is the fencing going to be? Is the landscaping going to be set up in such a way that drugs cannot be, and other paraphernalia cannot be hidden in the shrubbery and such, because even though they've stated that drugs are not allowed on the premises, they can come back to their apartments under the influence. So those are two questions I have to start with.
Yeah, so looks like the fencing around the perimeter is a combination of 6 feet tall and 4 feet tall. And then as far as the landscaping goes, I don't think I'm qualified to make a judgment on whether or not drugs can be hidden in certain landscaping configurations.
Yeah, I think what I'll add on to Yelin's response there is I'm sure when the opportunity presents itself for the applicant to talk about their proposed maintenance plan, they can potentially address some of those questions.
Okay, and we can confirm that HUD has not formally approved the loans in the process yet? I've heard both stories.
This funding source will come from the state, and as of right now, it is still in pending process.
Okay.
The application.
So since you're there, and so is this coming from Continuum of Care program or the HHAP program from the state?
The funding?
Yes.
Neither. This is Home Key Plus funding, so it's a separate,
And it's still budgeted?
yes, it is.
But, okay.
And so we did receive a preliminary, preliminary approval that's going forward for final review
Okay, and when is that expected?
within the next week or two.
Okay, thank you. Following the rules, is this a conditional use permit so that if there are a lot of problems with the establishment and the operations, that the city can go in and penalize and pull the permit from the operators?
No, today we're reviewing a minor discretionary review, which is separate from a conditional use permit.
And I'll also elaborate from a land use perspective, the Home Key project and what's in front of you, even as a minor discretionary, it's considered multifamily. And so under the zoning that the council recently approved, CM or mixed commercial, residential is permitted by right. So this project will not require a conditional use permit.
Thank you. Okay, the rest I have for later. So with that, are there any further questions? Commissioner Paul.
Yeah, I do have a question on the pool. It says it's being filled and it's going to be redesigned as a central courtyard. Is there any reason why the pool is being filled? And what I think, if it's a certain apartment building has 200 residents, they do need to have a pool. So is there any conditions by the city that they do have to have a pool, or it's just optional for the owner to have a pool or not to have a pool?
So The city is not requiring that they fill the pool. That is just what the applicant is proposing. So we'll defer to the applicant to talk about the programming that they prefer. I also do want to clarify that should the project come to fruition, it would be 50 units, so for 50 residents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Then I have one last question. Thank you for reminding me. In regards to the renderings, I'm in agreement with Commissioner Ali Sullivan. I've asked about this before in past hearings, that we're talking a $25 to $30 million project, and less than 1%, 1/10 of 1%, to do proper renderings or even three-dimensional renderings, which I do in my business every day with airports. It's required. I just think in the future, the more that we have, the better decisions we can make. And in the future, on a lot of these projects, having better visuals of what the applicants are looking for just helps us to do a better job for the citizens. So with
Chair,
that.
if you don't mind, I do just want to make sure that everyone is aware, in your plan set or in your packet, it's sheet L1.03. It's labeled as landscape material palette, but effectively what it is furnishing for the site. And so with these particular improvements, a sport court or a dog park, there's not really a rendering to provide, since that is a flat improvement. But this particular packet does give you visuals of what the fencing would look like. It also gives you visuals about the patio furniture that they are proposing. And it does also include some paving visuals as well, so that you would know what that flat surface appears. However, I will note that there is no visual here for the gazebo, so that does seem to be absent of this packet.
Thank you. Yeah, and to me, those are boards that you would show, not a real good visual, but, I'll show you at a later date what my specifics that I'm looking for. So with that.
I have one other question. And just to clarify, if this was not approved today, the applicant still can move forward with the plans just without these improvements, correct? Okay, thank you.
Correct.
Any further? Okay. I will now open the public hearing, and I have no hands online, so if you're online, let us know. So we will go to our cards, and we will start with Cynthia Garcia, followed by Corey Roycroft.
Jerry Raycroft.
Jerry, sorry.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Garcia. I am a resident of the city of Fairfield. I was raised here, and I was actually raised in the district in which this property is sited, and I currently live there. I'm a homeowner. I shop in that area. I get gas there. I get my coffee and so on, and I am thrilled about this project. I am so happy to see a giant investment of non-Fairfield money to build affordable housing for the most vulnerable people in our community. As a person who gives money every time I go to Raley's to a person who is begging out there, I would love to see the homeless people housed safely and securely in a place that is fit for human habitation and not near the dumpster by McDonald's. The way our homeless live is cruel and inhumane. This project brings humanity back to the homeless of Fairfield. It serves people with mental illness, substance use disorder, who many are stigmatizing and scapegoating as criminals, when, as a person who works in the justice system, I know that these folks are more likely to be victims than they are to be perpetrators. And to talk about them as if they don't already exist in our community and they don't already stay at that derelict property, that property is an eyesore and it's a damn shame. We need to be embarrassed by what's going on there. We need to be scared by what's going on there right now. Prostitution, drug use and sales, shootings. I live in this neighborhood. I know what's going on at that property. I've eaten at Texas Roadhouse and looked over at that parking lot and seen what a disgrace that property is. These people are bringing in outside money to our city, a huge investment that we are looking at turning away. It's going to be visually so much better. Our community is going to be safer, and we are going to treat the least of us with dignity. We are improving our safety by improving the nature of homelessness in Fairfield by building affordable, permanent housing. We strive so hard to put people in the criminal justice system in safe places where they can attain their sobriety, where they can get control over their uncontrolled mental health. A place like this builds a safe space with support, with services, with shopping, and it frankly aligns 120% with our general plan and our housing element. To vote no on such an item would be embarrassing, because this aligns with all the housing documents and the policy documents that exist for the city of Fairfield.
10 seconds.
So, well, 13, but no, I'm kidding. So I see this as a win-win-win. It helps the homeless, it helps the residents by getting the homeless off our streets, and it helps the city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jerry, followed by Nora.
Thank you.
Eyes on.
Chair Kennedy and Commissioners, this comment really doesn't deal with site improvements, but I think it's relevant. From 1995 to 2000, I was the Community Development Director, Redevelopment Director with the City of El Cerrito in Contra Costa County. And during that time, we did a project which was the conversion of a 27-unit motel to permanent housing for veterans, homeless, and people with AIDS. We worked with the Richmond nonprofit called Rubicon Programs. The project was the Idaho Motel, which was a 1950s era motor lodge, so to speak. It was used by the county for homeless vouchers. It was used by others for brief stays, if you will, and it was basically run down. So when Rubicon came to the city and wanted to convert the Idaho Motel into permanent housing, again, for veterans, homeless, and people with AIDS, the redevelopment agency worked to acquire and convey the property to Rubicon. We provided that funding. The county provided CDBG money. The VA provided housing money. There was HOPWA money, which is Housing for Opportunities for People with AIDS. So it was a huge project. But like you, we sponsored a community meeting because we wanted the neighbors to know about the project. And so we presented the project to the neighborhood, and this has always stuck with me. I've remembered this, although I'm not going to repeat it verbatim. But a young woman, after the project was presented, a young woman who, my memory serves me, actually was in the city of Richmond, which bordered the Idaho apartments on the backside. She stood up and she said, as I understand this project, you're converting this motel, 27 units, to permanent housing. There will be on-site management. There will be on-site services for the people in there. She said, I have 2 small children, and I really worry. Right now, I have no idea who's in that motel. But you're telling me I'll know who's in that motel. They'll have leases and supportive services. She said, I like this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Nora, followed by Steve Vansel.
Good evening. There's recent information that materially affects the analysis of the VISTA Ridge project. Though Home Key Plus is the planned source of funding for the actual acquisition and remodeling of the property, the problem is with the future operating costs. On June 27th of this year, Governor Newsom signed the budget for the coming fiscal year, and they cut the homeless funding down to zero. Used to be $1 billion, now zero. When I asked, so we've spent $24 billion on housing and homelessness, and the governor's message is, I've done my part. Now cities need to step up and take care of the crisis in their streets. Okay. When I asked the city of Fairfield where the funding to operate this facility is coming from, I was told it's from the federal government. Well, the problem is the federal government plans to cut HUD budget by 44%. The funding for what's called the Continuum of Care program, which funds long-term solutions to homelessness, including permanent supportive housing, which is housing that comes with case management, counseling, and other services for people with disabilities, mental illnesses, addictions. Okay, the problem is that's going to go away. They are going to replace that with the Emergency Solutions Grant Program. The funds are used for more short-term solutions, such as homeless shelters, short-term rental assistance for people who don't need extra services. So funding is on a cliff right now. And our city cannot afford to step up and cover the costs that are getting lost from the state and the federal government. We cannot afford this. Please, this is newer information. Please understand, our city just cannot afford to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. Steve, followed by Jose Carrizales.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Steve Vance. I live in Fairfield. I'm trying to keep an open mind about this project. I agree with the first speaker that there are currently problems at that site. This project may be helpful, or it could be problematic in the long run. Mostly, I just have questions, and I think some of the questions I kind of heard tonight, but I hadn't heard in previous dialogue. My first point is Vallejo took on a home key project in 2022. In January, the city council had to pony up $6 million extra to keep the project going. It's apparently getting closer to completion, but last month they had to forward another $600,000. So my question is, will the city be on the hook, or will Danco agree to cover all the overruns that might occur? And if so, will they stick with that design? So I'm not sure the design is really fixed yet. Another question I have is the materials we have tonight talks about conditions on the property owner. Well, who is the property owner? Right now, it seems to be the hotel chain, but I'm not sure who would be buying the property, if it's Danco or another agency. Danco does construction, they do property management. Will Danco actually be the property owner and ultimately be liable and responsible for the property? Another point I have, another question, is the cities and counties we formed a 2x2 committee called Cap Solano Agency, and it's to address homelessness within the county, a comprehensive regional solution. My question is this part of that Cap Solano solution? I don't see anything in their plan. I did look at their 2026-27 action plan. It's 190 pages. It lists lots and lots of surveys, lists lots of needs, but I don't see any brick and mortar plans for this. So my question is, are neighboring cities also doing permanent supportive housing? Do they have plans? I haven't seen any. So far, it's just us and potentially maybe Vallejo. And the state gave us joint power authorities. I think we're still the only county in the state that has joint power authorities to address homelessness. I think we need to make sure this is part of a bigger solution. The other thing is this may or may not work. It could be a good plan that actually would get people into housing, get them going this way, and it could be employees for our businesses that are in that area. On the other hand, if it doesn't work, we could start seeing vacancies in an area that we're still trying to develop in the city. So my question on that is there, if it's not working out, is there the ability for the city to terminate the current home key project, and at what cost would that be? So again, I think you've asked all the questions. I appreciate you diligently looking into it, but my respectful request tonight was you defer decision. We still have one more hearing to go with Danco. I think there could be some more information. I think the best course of action for this evening is to defer the decision.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Okay, Jose Carrizales, followed by Deanna Murad.
Jose Carrizales, thank you for that. Just a couple of points. The Vallejo project is, Vallejo has a permanent supportive housing called the Broadway Project that is delayed, has over costs only because of the audit report indicated that staff was ill-equipped to handle that project. So it's up to, should open probably later this month in September. They also have an Navigation Center, which is kind of like an emergency shelter. There was another point the gentleman made about Vallejo, but I just don't escape. I just wanted this commission to remember that housing with wraparound supports will end homelessness. This is an important project that will lead to that. We're talking about shrubbery and we're talking about drugs and shrubbery. We don't know that. We don't have a crystal ball. Who knows what's going to do? We can deal with our perceptions and our assumptions and our beliefs, but we don't know until it happens, until something does happen. I have to give enough benefit of the doubt to Danco that they're going to operate this project properly, humanely, and correctly. What else, if we don't allow them to do it, what else do we have? We cannot afford to not build projects that won't house my unsheltered friends just because people don't like it, just because we can find a barrier for it, just because we can find something that may not work for somebody else. My unsheltered friends deserve to be treated humanely, deserve and have earned the right to have a home. A home is a human right. This project will begin the process in the city of Fairfield to house my unsheltered friends. Granted, it's only 50, but it's 50 less that are not in the street. The question is not what happens if you build it. The question is what happens if you don't build it? What happens if you don't build it? That's the question. My unsheltered friends would be bullied, harassed by the police, by citizens of Vallejo. The continuing examples of fear-mongering, they're drug addicts, prostitution, they do this, they rob, they steal. We'll house them. And maybe that won't happen. What about that thought? So and it needs money. At their August 27th town hall at community event meeting at Willow Hall, Danco did an extensive outline of their funding, of how they're going to do it, how they're going to get it. The money's there. We're talking about an opportunity to house my unsheltered friends, and I think, and I would support this project, and I would support the Planning Commission approving this. Thank you.
Deanna Murad, followed by Pam Watson.
Good evening, I'm Deanna Morad. I'm a resident of a neighborhood where this infamous project is going to be built, and I strongly object to the project. A lot of people said a lot of wonderful things about it. This is a family-oriented and so on, but they're forgetting that even our famous Governor Newsom today announced that he is not anymore funding this program, Home Key program, because it's unsuccessful. And if you listen to him, you will hear it with your own ears, and you will know that and Nora spoke about that. So that's how it is, situation right now at this moment in terms of funding. So basically, and someone said that the Fairfield is not contributing, they're contributing $1.5 million to this project, additional to 26 that supposedly come from the state. In addition, majority of the neighbors object to this project, and we do have people here who live in the neighborhood and who support. And they say, yeah, it's wonderful. It's not wonderful because for obvious reasons. This project will bring crime, filth, and drugs into our community. And I'm pretty much sure, and I do not object about having housing, homeless, whatever they want to be housed, that's fine. I understand they're humans, they need to live somewhere. We support cats and dogs, and we should support human beings as well. But I think the location is unacceptable because of it's the kind of image it presented. We need to ask ourselves a question whether or not this specific project is bringing benefit to this community. What kind of a benefit it's planning? You're a planning commission. You need to decide, will this homeless project benefit this specific community, and in which way? I personally think it will not. Because as it is, CVS is struggling, Rayleigh's is struggling, many small businesses complaining about it, and they are not happy, and I want you to know. So, therefore, imagine a serious crime happening in that location, and it's not impossible. It is. As you know, just in this month, one crime happened by homeless in North Carolina, another one happened in Turlock. It's very easy, people getting killed. And nice people who are trying to help the homeless, they're getting killed. So think twice. I really appreciate your time, and I want you to know that I do not support this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna. Pam Watson, followed by Kelsey Morgado.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak this evening. I've lived in Fairfield since 1979. Pardon me, you're all blurry. Since 1979, and I live within a mile of Vista Ridge. Vista Ridge, correct? Vista Ridge. And I'm very familiar with the north side of town. In fact, I'm familiar with the entire town because I have been selling real estate in this community since 1979 as well. So I'm very familiar as well with the situation that we have with the unhoused in our community. I've been a member of the National Alliance on Mental Illness of Solano for a couple of decades now, and the president for 7 years. And I have family members that unfortunately suffer with mental illness and drug addiction. And I just want to say that I want to thank the city, our city members, for taking on the work to secure these funds. I understand that many people, let me back up. I understand this is difficult for a lot of people, but I think that the more people will join in with the community to understand what it's like to live with mental illness and trying to be a productive member of society, I think that we would all come together. Anyway, I'm excited. The project is an eyesore. There is so much happening in that area. I understand that. This will alleviate a huge percentage of that problem. The people that will be chosen to live in this community will be not monitored, but chosen by Kaminar, which is a support system for the disadvantaged in our area. I do want to mention one other thing. I have a family member that can't get housing under Section 8 or any other programs. They're single, no children. The waiting list for Section 8 housing is 5 years to get on the waiting list, not to get on the list. So I want to thank you all, and I'm very much in support of this, and I think it will be a benefit to our community, and I think our community leaders, I'm one of them in a small sense, will step up to the plate and help this project survive, and I hope we have many more. Thank you very much, very much.
Thank you, Pam. Kelsey Morgado, followed by Crystal.
Sheena, before my time begins, can I approach to drop off some documents here?
Yep. Thanks, Kelsey.
Would you like me to pass it down?
One for each person would be great. Good evening. I'm coming to you this evening as a mother, a member of the Fairfield Sassoon Chamber of Commerce, a volunteer at Solano Napa Habitat for Humanity, and also a businesswoman that's deeply engaged in this community. I am begging you tonight to please recognize the real implications that this project is going to have on families and businesses that surround it. I'm coming to you tonight after my conversation with Lisa Bonington, who's the president and CEO of the Fairfield Sassoon Chamber of Commerce. She's also the executive director of the North Texas Street Business Council. She confirmed to me this evening that the survey that was distributed to the North Texas Street businesses that surround this project, every single business that responded to the survey, 100% opposition to this project, to our locally owned businesses on North Texas Street. Your responsibility is not only to direct Fairfield's growth and development, but also to safeguard public safety and economic vitality for the city. Approving Vista Ridge as it stands does not align with those responsibilities, and in my opinion, it undermines the vision and expectations that we have set for Fairfield's future and our growth plan. This has very real implications for my family. My husband and I have paid over $850,000 for our home, and we're now working to put a homeless permanent supportive housing 1.1 miles from my home, where I am raising 3 young children. I encourage you to please read my recent letter to the editor, which I provided copies of, that was published in the Daily Republic, which reflects the sentiments of so many residents and business owners. I'm telling you that you have not heard from more businesses about this project because the public wasn't given the time to learn, to understand, to engage before the zoning decisions were even made. By the time we learned about this, the process was already moving forward. The reasoning that Danco has not engaged the community the way that they should have, frankly, is because that would have given people time to organize, to protest, to collect enough signatures to take this to the vote, to the people. So I really urge you, the fact that we're even having decisions about approving things before funding has been secured is just crazy to me. So I am asking you to just please consider the impacts to the surrounding communities in the neighborhood, the impacts to the schools that were in 2 miles, and to the local businesses, and to please talk to them. No one is talking to the local business owners, and the fact that every single person on the North Texas Street Business Association who responded to the survey opposes the project, 100% of those respondents, that's something you really need to consider. These are locally owned businesses that are helping to support our local economy. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Kelsey. Crystal? Followed by Jose Ganoy.
So, they've been up here speaking before. I, like this woman and the other person, agreed and opposed to the project because of the safety and concern of the residents around living there. And the businesses will be going down. That's the way I feel about it right now. And I do a lot of walking, and I'm really worried about walking and going certain places and, maybe getting attacked or anything like that. So I'm really opposed to this project, and it's like they mentioned before the zoning, not many of us were known to the zoning, and we were not aware about the project being going into effect until we heard about it and went to the meetings. And there was so many residents that really opposed to it. We had a meeting at the Paradise Valley Club. There were so many people against this project. And the thing is, some was mentioned about the pedophiles going to be living, some of the pedophiles will be living there, sex offenders, drug addiction, and a few other things. My question is, how are we protected once they come out from the apartment, from where they're staying, and they're walking the streets? What's the guarantee when there's no police, extra police out there for us to protect us? What kind of, what can we do? I mean, that's my concern, And there's a lot of people who are scared right now. And I just don't feel like it's going to be anything to, protect anybody, because there's only a certain amount of the homelessness, but if people don't want to be helped too, and they're staying at the hotel and don't want to be helped, then how is that going to benefit them? I don't know if that makes sense or anything, but I just feel like there's got to be something, another project to go in place of the homeless there. Maybe move it somewhere else. You know, the location is not good where it's going to be, where they want to build it. It's not a good location. There's so many people who are walking there, and the businesses are concerned there, so that's just my opinion about that. Okay, that's it.
Great, thank you very much. Jose, followed by Jen McDonald.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jose Ganoy. I'm a resident of the Fairfield area, and I am opposed to this project. You know, going back on what the previous speakers mentioned about the funding, if the funding don't go through from the state or the federal, and do we have the funding to protect the people with police, fire, or whatnot that may occur in these particular projects? Also, sexual predators are going to be allowed, so they're going to be near the schools. You know, how do we protect the children? Also, the businesses that already having issues. From one of the business persons that spoke earlier in the prior meetings, you know, if they call the police and the police ask them if you're going to pursue prosecution, and if they don't, they won't even come out to help the business owners. So, I mean, I just feel this is going to be a magnet to other homeless people that's going to be around there trying to see if they can get in. So, I mean, as part of the planning, I think you guys need to look at the safety and the preservation of the businesses out there as well as the people. All right, thank you.
Great, thank you, Jose. Gian McDonald? John. How are you tonight?
Fine, how's everyone?
Followed
Gian
by-
McDougald. It's a nice Scottish name. I'm sure you saw that when I came up. So, good evening. So I'm here to stand in support of the project. I know a lot of the concern that people had was on two fronts. One was in terms of security, and the other was in terms of services. And I think that at our last meeting, at our last public meeting, those issues were addressed by Kaminar, as well as other agencies, and Danco as well. You know, there's been a lot of misinformation. I don't know if it's political or what. I'm just a therapist, and I only deal with the unhoused every day. And when I leave here, I'm going to go to a shelter where I volunteer for women who are victims of human trafficking and people who have been unhoused. And I've been doing this for a long time. And I was part of the Point in Time who went out in the community, and I go out every day and hand out things and there. So I know a little bit about people who are unhoused. And you know, what has happened is that there's been a lot of misinformation presented on Nextdoor. Well, you know, sometimes I stay up until 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning looking at it because it's really kind of interesting, where people are being portrayed as marauding bands of drug-crazed rapists. This is not it. Kaminar, as well as some of the other agencies, have talked about people who've been on their list, people that they're working with every day. There are going to be wraparound services. Let's talk about reality. Let's talk about what's been presented, not just what we've heard or what we think is going to happen. Let me tell you what, Texas Roadhouse is not going anywhere. Well, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't go there anyway. But we need to really deal with fact. Fact is that when we did the point-in-time count, the majority of the people who are unhoused pointed out that the reason that they're unhoused is because of a lack of being able to pay for affordability. So now we have 50, may not seem like a lot, but it's a lot of space for people who are unhoused, who say, there are a lot of people who work in Walmart and some of these other places who are unhoused. Everyone out here is not somebody running around. We've got neighbors who are drug addicts. We've got neighbors who are rapists. Go look at the websites and see that your next door neighbors are some of these rapists and some of these drug-crazed people that you're talking about. So I not only stand in support of it, but I say, all these people who, and you know, people have a right to whatever their opinion is, but let's get together as a community, because right now, there are a lot of things that are going on in our county and in our country where people who are regular working people cannot afford to have a place. Let's support this project. And
5 seconds.
And 5 seconds. Well, thank you so very much for, and I know I got off point, but thank you so very much for allowing me the time. I stand in support of the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll go on, I have one hand raised. If we can bring that one person on board, please.
Of course. We have Karen Nemzik. She's online.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, thank you.
Okay.
Can you please state your name?
We have Karen Nemzik online. Karen, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you. My name is Karen Nemzik, and I represent the United Way Bay Area. We stand with permanent supportive housing as a proven method to reduce homelessness and improve the quality of life for people experiencing unsheltered homelessness. Permanent supportive housing provides stable housing environments and supportive services that address residents' specific needs, leading to improved behavioral and physical health and very often better employment outcomes. I've heard a lot of concerns tonight about funding this permanent supportive housing as a reason to not build it, but frankly, moving encampments and having people live on the streets is also costly. In 2023, Fairfield spent about $3.5 million to address homelessness out of the Public Works, Fire, and Law Enforcement budgets to clear encampments and clear people living on the streets. There are many other studies that indicate that responding to encampments costs a lot more than housing the homeless. So the bottom line is, moving people from one encampment to another does not solve homelessness. The solution to homelessness is a home. Thank you very much for your time.
Great, thank you very much. I have no other hands, so now we'll go to Paul. I'm sorry, Paul, you write like me. Part of the applicant team. You're next, thank you. And then that'll be followed by Cameron Dart.
Hi, good evening, members of the council, or commission. I'm not sure if we're following protocol here. I didn't know if we were going to have a chance to respond to the questions, so we submitted a speaker card. Is that the proper?
Now's your time.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, Cameron and I wanted to address a few of the questions from the commission. I don't know if we have the visual, the materials landscape palette, L103, available. Do folks here have that?
Yes.
Okay, in front of them, okay.
Just so everybody knows, we have a monitor, whoops, excuse me, we have a monitor that reflects that. So
okay.
that we may not be looking up there, but we see it right here.
Yeah, so, but you say you didn't have the page 103, or?
I don't have the materials sheet, but it should be as part of the planning commission packet.
Oh, okay. So questions about the material selections. With regard to the metal fencing, the idea is we'll have a 6-foot perimeter fence. On this section of the page where it says fencing, there is an image of a black steel fence that will be around the entire perimeter of the site. What's not shown here is also going to be, there's going to be vehicle gates that'll be operable automatically. There was a question about the pergola under the section that shade shows 2 different options. The idea is we would have something fairly contemporary and streamlined with a louver top for sunshade. This page also includes images of the seating that would be in the main courtyard space where the residents would congregate. I was trying to think what other questions you had. I mean, happy to answer more questions if you have other questions.
Okay, thank you.
Can you confirm the budget amount? Is it 26 million?
That's probably Cameron. You're the architect, right?
I'm just the architect.
Cameron Dart.
Members of the Planning Commission, Cameron Dart, Danco Communities. Yeah, the total development cost is, I don't have the exact number after the 7 figures, but it's around 26 million, and that's total development cost. So that includes design, engineering, also the acquisition of the site. I think the original question was around just construction cost, so we would call redevelopment costs. I don't have that number in front of me, but it also is a public record within the city, so anyone can access that, and we're happy to provide it if anyone would like that as well. I just don't have it in front of you. Total development cost, 26 million. If it's okay, I also did want to add a little bit of context to the perimeter fencing. Yes, so the fencing, I think there was a question around the intent of the fencing. So the fencing is designed basically to define the property, improve safety, and provide a clear line of sight for pedestrian access, or not pedestrian access, but resident access. So Paul brought up the 3 vehicular gates. There will be 2 main access points for staff and case managers, and only they can go in and out of those vehicular gates. There's a 3rd vehicular gate that will be designated for emergency service vehicles. And the intent of that is this population, as we know, they sometimes can have vehicles or shopping carts or things that they lug around with them prior to being housed. So we just find from a maintenance plan perspective that it's effective for the staff to have some oversight on access. And then the pedestrian gates will be with a regular key, and residents will have those keys. Also on the pool, just really quick here on the pool, we have 2 not Home Key Plus, but earlier Home Key Round projects in Sacramento. They both have pools, and we find that they're massively underutilized by this population. So it's really just a design decision we made to, we felt that an exterior courtyard seating area was much more amenable to the residents' needs compared to a pool. But obviously, that's something we're happy to reconsider if there's more opinions there. So thank you.
Okay.
And you can also talk about the project other than just answering the questions as well, if you wanted to.
Can you address video surveillance and security in general?
Yeah, the site has a fully camera system, security system that is up to standard with any multifamily housing apartment complex. I don't have those specs in front of me, but I'm happy to provide them. We also have 24/7 desk coverage, and that includes a security guard. And then there are 2 full-time caseworkers. So they'll work 40 hours a week each, entirely designated to this property to provide services for the residents on site. So their sole job is to serve the 50 folks that live there. That's kind of from a staffing perspective. And then we do have a security plan, and happy to provide that as well, if anyone's curious about it.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, just last thing, sorry. Encourage folks to come to the community engagement meeting that we're holding next Wednesday. A lot of the questions around financing, what's changing with the budget, both at the state and federal level. We have a really good pulse on some of those things, so happy to address them then. And yeah, I also enjoy speaking with the community. I've given people my phone number, my email. I think it's available on the website as well, so feel free to reach out to me too if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no other hands online. Do we have any other questions for the applicant before I close the public hearing? Commissioner Paul?
Yes, like you said, you're going to be fencing all around the property, but in my opinion, if we do wall of 6 feet height, that be more secured, and if we have it as a gated community, that will answer a lot of the questions the general public has raised. What do you think about it?
6 feet versus 4 feet. Correct? You wanted 6 feet all around?
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. And the gated community as well.
Isn't the dog run is 4?
It's a bit of a misstatement earlier. Yeah, 6 feet around the entire perimeter is indicated by the blue line, or actually purple blue line. on the plan. The 4 feet portion is just around the dog run.
Yeah.
So it,
Great.
yeah.
Thank you. I'll now close the public hearing. And I just want to make a couple comments before we go into the little deliberations here. I have personally been to every one of the meetings, community, and believe it or not, the 4 prior city council meetings, starting with the one on January 21st and following up till recently. I've also talked to the applicant because I had some questions about some stuff as a citizen, and those questions I'll bring to the public so everybody knows. I asked them about their present projects, 3 of the projects, 2 in Sacramento and 1 in the Berkeley, Oakland area, and to get the addresses for those. So I did get those addresses from Mr. Dart, and I did do a Megan's Law search because that seems to be where the public has been led down a road. And there are, in those 3 projects, there are 0 sex offenders from a 1 to a 5. So I just want to make that public that that was information I did find out. So, and it does not affect anything that I have to do with the decision tonight. So with that, I will now, I've closed the public hearing, so we'll return it to the commission for your deliberations. And we will start down with Commissioner Ali Sullivan.
Thank you, Chair Kennedy. I guess first, on my deliberation, do we have recent numbers from a homeless audit in the city of Fairfield? Do we know what our population is?
The last pit numbers was 417.
Okay. So, of course, we're not here to deliberate the merits of this project and whether or not housing should be placed here or not. We're here to discuss the site improvements. With that said, my understanding is that this hotel is maybe a bit of an eyesore. It's not the best use of land. I actually didn't realize where this was when I Googled the address. And I said, oh, yeah, it's that seedy little hotel on the side of the highway that I drive by very often. But it sort of disappears into the ether. And even though I shop at the Rayleighs and I go to the gas station there, you sort of forget that it's there. It's tucked away. I wonder if the applicant had brought a project to the city to say, I want to have a overnight homeless shelter in this location, what the reaction from the public would have been. And it probably would have been a bit objectionary. And then if they said, all right, well, we're not going to do that. Instead of having an overnight homeless shelter, we're going to redevelop this hotel, we're going to turn it into apartments, and it's going to be long-term housing for folks. And people would probably say, you know what, it's a lot better than a homeless shelter. That's actually serving a purpose. And so I fully appreciate the concerns that people have raised tonight, and I know that this has been an issue that people have a lot of concern with. I'm also very cognizant of the fact of what is the business impact going to be, because there is a business community adjacent to here, and I wouldn't want to see this negatively impact the businesses. But to my earlier question, how many homeless people live in the city? There's over 400 homeless people right now in Fairfield. So those people exist. They already live here. I find it hard to believe that a project of this sort would incentivize more homeless people to come to Fairfield. What I would anticipate happens is that ideally the applicant is pulling people off of the street in the city of Fairfield and putting them into this housing. And so if this project has been approved by the city council, what's in front of me now is to say, well, should we improve this site? Should we make it better? And the plan that I see in front of me, while it's missing some of the visuals that I would like to see, it does appear that these are additive improvements to the site. More trees are positive, additional fencing, amenities to the site. And so, again, the merits of what I'm seeing, the project in front of me tonight and the request of the applicant not discussing the merits of this project as a homeless shelter or as a supportive housing center, but as a site improvement to the existing conditions, I'm inclined to support the project tonight. So appreciate you hearing all my thoughts, and I look forward to hearing what my other planning commissioners have to say as well. Chair Kennedy, I will say, and you're probably going to echo something, so I hope I'm not stealing your thunder. It is a little bit concerning that we're having, and it's not just this meeting, but previous meetings have happened and decisions have been made before community hearings have taken place, and I'm sure others will speak on that. Someone at the hearing 2 weeks from now might say, you know what, you should actually have a pickleball court there, and the developer decides to put that because that would be a great amenity. Well, how does that happen, right? So I think it is probably ideal to have these projects fully sorted from a public discourse perspective before they come for decisions with council and with the planning commission. With that said, I understand that there's a hearing coming up in a couple weeks, and we'll see how that goes. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Reese?
With respect to what's before us, I completely agree that it's important to improve the property. I also just want to say that I think affordable housing is necessary and important in every community, and I appreciate that this project brings that. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Paul?
To me, like, since the city attorney is sitting here and the issues of homeless and funding and crime and other kind of crimes is not the issue today we have to decide on. Our review is very limited to designs, siting, and other exterior elements of the proposed improvements. And I don't see very many speakers their views on those things about the designing, siting, and exterior elements. And today our hands are very much tied. We have to decide, review only on those elements of the improvements. And I appreciate your views about the other issues, but like I said, our hands are tied. We won't be able to do much today. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Matthews?
So I'd like to just point out the zoning change that we approved at this commission earlier, and then was, I guess we recommended it to the city council, and then they passed it. The zoning change itself does not approve the project. It's a zoning change, and that's in discussions that I've heard often conflated, and I think that needs to be kept separate. And so that relates a little bit, in my personal view, to some of the timing issues, which, granted, I think could have been improved. But with respect to the question in front of this commission tonight relating to the improvements, to the design, to the location, I'm very supportive of this. And to the concerns, though outside of the scope of our commission, that this will be additive to crime and safety, I'm not persuaded by those arguments. In my opinion, the presence of this facility will improve the overall condition. The homeless are with us now, and this may be only 10% of a much larger problem, but it's a motion. It's one, starfish that's being thrown back into the ocean, and you do that one at a time. And so, in my view, this will improve overall conditions, and I'm supportive of the project.
Thank you. All right, so first off, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight and speaking. I want you to know it's greatly appreciated. Your commitment to your safety and your quality of life in our city. So first and foremost, thank you very much. Next. I feel totally misled on this item, and I want you to know I appreciate our planning department and city employees immensely, and there is no blame there, but I do blame the process. And I say this as when I say I'm totally feel misled on this project. At the January 21st meeting of the City Council, our the Director of Housing stated that many hurdles existed: community meetings, Planning Commission approvals, and council meetings. But we never received this as an opportunity to fully process and fully digest this use. We were presented a general zoning change about the land, not the operations. Now tonight, again, not the specific use or operations, but only on the minor amenities. In my mind, this is not a minor designated review process. This is major. This is by far the most controversial item that this city has had in many, many years, probably since Rockville Springs. And the people have to have a right to voice their opinions. And to treat this as minor lacks transparency. Transparency that I have been advocating for many years for this city. It really delegitimizes the views and concerns of the public. We are expected to approve this before all of the community meetings is premature and it's putting the cart before the horse. And as long as there is a community meeting where the citizens have a right to voice their opinion and the applicant has a right to fully present this plan, I cannot support this until all community meetings have been held. I personally want to see it delayed until after the next community meeting. But the purview is to this Planning Commission, and I will now accept any motions.
I move that we approve resolution number PC 2025-6.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 No. Okay, thank you. Ms.
Mr. Chairman, just to state for the record, that passes 4-1.
Correct.
Thank you.
Ms. Sheehan, do you have any items for the director's report?
Chair, should we invite our vice chair back?
Yes, I guess. Thank you.
All right, sorry, I just wanted to give Jay a moment to get situated. Yes, so I have brief report for you all. I just want to give you a little foresight into your next meetings that are coming up. First and foremost, just so that you're aware, and you'll get the formal email that always comes from our office, but the September 24th meeting will be canceled. We don't have any items queued for it. Following that, we will have a meeting on October 8th. That meeting will be to review the Villages at Fairfield project known as Parkside. So when the Lewis Corporation came to give an informational presentation, they noted that they had two subdivisions in motion for entitlement. The first was Lago Vista that came to this body a few weeks back, and so this would be the second one. Again, that will be October 8th. Following that, we will also have a meeting on October 13th. That will not include any actionable items as of right now. What we would like to present to you is more of a study session, if you will, on the general plan implementation. Yes.
Just to clarify, that's Monday, October 13?
Ooh, it shouldn't be. It should be a Wednesday. Let me make sure I've got my right dates. My apologies. Oh, yep, I apologize. It would be the 22nd.
Okay. It's
The 13th is my due date. Sorry about that.
Excuse me?
It's my staff report
Okay,
due
got
date. So sorry about that. Thank you for
Gotta
the
have some
clarification.
levity here, sorry.
No. Thank you for that clarification. So yes, it would be a study session item in which we are looking to receive direction, feedback, commentary, anything that you might have on our general plan implementation. More specifically, we're looking to implement mandatory components of our housing element. So that's just a little preview for you, and we'll have more information as we get closer to that date. And then on November 12th, let me make sure. Sorry about that. Yes, on November 12th, then you'd be taking action to recommend to City Council for the general plan implementation components. And then on the 26th, we will all be, I'm just kidding, on the 26th, that is the day before Thanksgiving, we will be canceling that meeting, and we don't have any items that would be queued for it. So just wanted to give you that preview for the rest of this month in October and November. And then my last item is, I did just want to make sure that we highlighted, I'm very proud to highlight that our own Chris Matthews has been appointed as the second vice president. Is that the correct terminology? Make sure I use the right board terminology by the League of California Cities for the board of directors. So thank you so much for representing our city and pushing yourself as a planning commissioner for that. I'm super proud, and thank you for sharing that good news. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Chair.
Great, thanks. Do commissioners have any comments? Starting down, none? 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 Chris? Jay? No comments? What'd you come for? No. Okay, with that, I will adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
I created one for our